Well, it is a historic day. The former Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, in custody in the United States, leaving a Brooklyn detention center, heading to a New York courthouse where he has made his first appearance with his wife, pleading not guilty, of course, and then he will be back to Brooklyn to be held. Of course, reaction on the streets, especially in Florida, has been joy. According to the Migration Policy Institute, about 49% of Venezuelans who currently reside in the United States, 49% of them were in Florida from 2019 to 2023. Florida Congressman Carlos Gimenez, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, is good enough to join us today. Congressman, always a pleasure to have you. Tell us about the call. I guess Secretary Rubio chose you to be one of the first to say we've captured Maduro. What was that like? Walk us through that historic moment.
Well, I mean, he called me at 4:27 in the morning, and his first call went unanswered because I was asleep, and so I was too late in answering the phone. But he called me right back, and so answered the phone, and it was him, and I knew that there was got to be some news to report about what's happening in the Caribbean, either a strike or something else. And so he told me that they got him, and they got Maduro and his wife, and that he was in American custody. And there's not much more details about that. Obviously, he told me it was an operation and very successful, and no U.S. servicemen or women were killed. And all of our assets were returned. And so I was very happy about that. And I was also extremely happy that we had arrested Nicolas Maduro and his wife. There are still more members of this cartel, this regime, that need to face American justice. But for now, we're pretty happy that we got Nicolas Maduro, the head of the snake.
One of them, the Department of the Interior, Cabello, is listed in that indictment, and he's been out there as well. You're from Cuba. We know that Secretary of State Marco Rubio had said I'd be pretty concerned if I was over there as well. We know 32 Cubans were killed during the U.S. raid in Venezuela. A lot of that is believed to be they were there to protect Maduro. So where this goes, and we know majority of people in South Florida as well would be very welcome to see something like that. But realistically, what are your thoughts?
Well, look, just the telling part of that, you had 32 Cubans that were killed in this arrest tells you that it was the Cubans who were actually propping up Maduro. This is a little bankrupt island that's now taking control of a whole nation, and so Venezuela was a friend of Cuba, was shipping them oil for free, which was propping up the Cuban economy. The Cuban state is a failed state. Can't keep their lights on. They don't have any food, sufficient food for their people, no medicine. And so it's probably at its weakest point since I came over from Cuba some 65 plus years ago. And so that's also good news for the people here in Miami. So, yeah, I can see the writing on the wall, but I'm not going to predict anything, in the future. I'm not going to do that with President Trump. You don't know what he's going to do.
No, nor do our adversaries, and that's a good thing.
Right.
Our final 20 seconds, sir. We mentioned how you're on House Armed Services Committee. There is the meeting at 5:30 on the Hill to talk about what was, they say, a law enforcement to go in and get someone who was indicted. His name's Nicolas Maduro. But what do you think will come on the Hill after that and some of the post-meeting reaction tonight?
I think that the folks on my side of the aisle are going to be very, very happy and fine with the operation. I think the folks on the other side of the aisle, because it's President Trump, and I believe they have Trump derangement syndrome, will say that, it shouldn't have happened, and they'll find a reason why they're now defending a narco-terrorist, illegitimate dictator of a country that has his hands with American blood, with hundreds of thousands of American lives that he's been fully or partially responsible for. I'd like to see that argument, but they're going to do it anyway because it was President Trump who got this done.
Well said. Well, a good wake-up call at 4:27 if you're going to get one from Marco Rubio. Florida Congressman Carlos Gimenez, thank you for joining us today here on Newsline, sir. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.